everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video we have our November wrap up, and let me just tell you, I have some exciting reviews. I think it was a pretty good month. But before we get started, you guys already know the drill. Make sure to be subscribed to my channel. Also turn on notifications so you guys can be updated every single time I upload. And follow me on social media. I'll have it right here and down on my description bar, including my Goodreads if you want to follow my reading journey. And so with that being said, let's get right into the video. Yeah, you guys, so this month was a really good book month, I feel. I ended up reading 8 books. I'm actually on my 9th one. Thought I was going to include it in here, but I'm not done with it and I don't want to rush myself. But like I said, I have 8 books, and I will admit that I did not religiously follow my TBR that I did earlier this month, the video. I don't know, I just, certain picks that I chose in that video, I was just not vibing with them. So I decided to just put them off for an unknown day, and I chose something else. Plus I had a few pre-orders come in, so I was working with that. Alright, let's just get into the video. So the first books that I ended up picking up and reading was The Vanishing Star and The Hand on the Wall, and this is by Maureen Johnson, and it's part of the Truly Devious series. I thought it was going to be a trilogy, but I believe there's a book coming out, a 4th book coming out in June, July. I'm not sure, but I know there's a 4th book coming out for sure. Like you guys know, I loved the first Truly Devious book. I believe I gave it 5 out of 5. And this did not go far from that. I gave both of them a 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed them. I'm not going to go much into detail about these books because it would just kind of spoil the first one, but I will say that the first book is about Stevie. We're following Stevie, and she is a teenage girl who just got accepted to a very prestigious high school, boarding school type of school, and she's really interested in mystery and homicide, and there's actually a mystery in that school of the founder. So the founder of the book, many years before, he lost his wife and his daughter disappeared. So Stevie is really interested to kind of go back and try to figure out this cold case, but along the way she gets enrolled in some issues, and she has a mystery to solve in the present as well as in the past. I hope I'm making myself clear. So she's solving 2 mysteries: what happened to the school in the past, and then things that are happening now. And it's really interesting. I think it's a really nice detective, mysterious type of books. Really enjoyed them. They're very smartly written, and they're really nice to just pass the time. So I do give the first one a 5 out of 5, and then these are a 4.5 out of 5. Love them. Just love them. Next up, I ended up reading Burn Our Bodies Down by Rory Power, who is also the writer of Wilder Girls, which I read, I believe, about 2 or 3 months ago. Not sure. I ended up giving this book a 3.5 out of 5. And I know some of you are probably wondering why, since it does have a lot of rave reviews here on YouTube or BookTube. I guess I will say I have a really weird relationship with Rory Power. I really like her writing. It's very interesting. It's a very page turner. You can't keep it down. It's amazing. It's great. But towards the end, it always leaves me wanting more. Or in this case, with Wilder Girls, it left me wanting more. And with this one, I just felt so disappointed by the end of it. I think that she tries so hard to steer off a normal ending or a more I guess you could say, realistic ending, that she goes to the far end of like the spectrum of like normal things. She tries to go the opposite way, and then she just goes way too far, and it just gets really weird, and it's almost like, is this really the end? I guess if you really like weird books that go on a very weird direction, then this is the book for you. But for me, I did enjoy most of it. I read it pretty quickly, which is kind of the same thing with Wilder Girls. I enjoyed it, just the ending, I was just like, really? And I also thought that the character Margot that we're following was just very naive, and I couldn't understand a lot of her decision making. Of course, I did not say what the plot is about. So in this book, we are following Margot, who lives with her very like emotionally unstable mom, I will say, and she has no real affection given from her mom towards her. So she's very like separated from that nice kind of family environment, or that kind of relationship you would have with your mom. So she really wants to seek out her extended family. She really wants to know where she comes from. She wants to feel that kind of bond with family members. And so she one day finds a photograph and it shows where her mom is from. And she also finds a phone number to her grandma, and she sort of creates this connection with grandma and decides to go into the town that her mom is from to meet her extended family, and weird things start happening. And then you have to question why her mom decided to keep her out of this town, and why her mom decided to distance herself from that family. And when I say Margot does a lot of questionable things, it's almost annoying how it's like red flags everywhere, and she's just completely naive. This was a disappointment because I was really looking forward to this. Will I continue reading Rory Power books? I don't know. Truly, that is an I don't know. So we will leave it at that. Okay, what did I end up reading next? I think this is when I read the Bromance book club. I did a whole reading vlog on this. This was a blind date with the book. I didn't pick it out. I just bought, like I said, a book blindly, and I ended up getting the Romance book club, which is a chick lit romance book. So we are following Gavin, who is a professional baseball player. He's having trouble with his wife. She decides she wants a divorce, kicks him out of the house, and he really wants to win his wife back. So he essentially joins the Bromance book club, which is a group of men who read romantic novels to sort of feel closer to their spouses and understand their love language. And it's just a really fun, easy read. I really enjoyed it. It's very steamy, which I did not say that in the reading vlog. So I would say that if you're a younger, maybe a teenager, like 13, 14, don't read this. But if you're a little bit older than that, then it should be fine. But it is very steamy, but it's really interesting, and I had fun with it. I will say I hated his wife. Thea, I think her name was? Thea, yeah. Hated her. But I really enjoyed it and gave it a 4 out of 5. Maybe a 3.5? No. Hate doing that. I hate questioning myself. It's a 4 out of 5. Yes. Oh, and I'm so sorry. This is by Lisa K. Adams. Alright, then I got a pre-order that I had placed, and this is the reason why I didn't follow my original TBR. It's because this book came in, and this is Those Who Pray by Jennifer Moffett and this book was so good. So we are following, oh, I don't even know her name anymore, Emily. So we are following Emily, and she is in university. Is that correct? Yeah. She's in a university. She's essentially a very kind of outsider type of person. She doesn't have many friends in her university. She's kind of the outcast, I guess. And she meets this boy one day who gets her attention. Obviously, something kind of romantic happens there. And he is part of this self-growth, self-development group, aka a cult. And so we know where this is going. She obviously joins this group, and it's really interesting. You read about how she's just so vulnerable, and she's in this place where she's not confident with herself. So having this boy, attractive, pay attention to her, and also show her this, in her eyes, amazing group of people who want to be her friends, who want to help her improve. It's just interesting to see how easily manipulative you can be to join one of these cults. And I loved it. I will say, when I finished reading it, I immediately gave it a 5 out of 5. Because it's interesting when you're reading it, because it always shows you, so every chapter you get like a step 1, and it describes how one of these groups are trying to manipulate your brain into joining this. So it shows you like all the steps they take, and it's really, really interesting. Like I said, when I finished reading it, I was like, this is a 5 out of 5. Absolutely loved it. I still really loved it, but now I can see a little bit of a flaw in it, so it went down to a 4.5. I think I would have loved seeing her actually in the cult much longer. It's a pretty long book, I feel, and I feel like I could have read even more. I think that I would have loved, like I said, to have seen her more actively working in the mission, and seeing more interaction with that. We got a lot of, I don't want to spoil it, but we got a lot of her being recruited, her attending the first sessions, but I would have liked it to gone a little bit deeper. But maybe it's because it's YA, so it didn't go that deep. But overall, it was an amazing read, and I had so much fun. And at one point, I'm like, I'm in this cult as well. They had already brainwashed me as well. I was like, okay, where do I sign up? Just kidding. Don't sign up for this. Thanks. Anyways, so what's next? Oh, you guys. Okay. Next book I read is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. And this book was a 5 out of 5. Wow. What a book. It actually has a bookmark right now because I told my sister that she had to read it. So she's currently reading this. Not going to say anything regarding the plot. I went into it blindly, and I think that's the way you're supposed to, because if you look, there's no synopsis anywhere in this book. And so I believe that that's the point of going into this book completely blindly, and I'm not going to say anything. I wish I could say something, but I won't. What do I want to say about it? I think it's one of those books that is just going to stay with you forever. Like, sometimes I'm wondering, and I think back on this book, and I'm like, wow. What story? What a story. Now, with me saying that, I can see how there's people that might be like, oh, this is trash. I can see that. I feel like everybody's taste in books, just like with anything else, can be so different that someone can grab this book and be like, oh, well, I didn't really like it. I feel like my sister's gonna be one of those people. I will keep you updated, but I know the kind of books that I like and what this book did for me. I loved it, and it's 5 out of 5. There's no questioning for me. I loved it, and I still think about it right now. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, wow, what a book. So We Were Liars, totally recommended. 5 out of 5. Okay, oh my God. Next up, you guys, we have The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and I picked this book up thinking that I was very confident that this would be a 5 out of 5, and boy do I know myself. This was definitely a 5 out of 5. This book has everything that I would want in a book. It has every plot that I enjoy, and I loved it. So we are following Avery, who is this teenage girl who has a very unstable life. Her mom has passed away. She has to live with her sister, who is not much older than her, I believe. And she has an abusive boyfriend, the sister, who Avery doesn't like, obviously. So there's always that kind of tension. She doesn't want to live with him. Decides to live in her car instead. Just, you know, very unstable. One day she gets told that she is the sole inheritor of $400 billion that this old man just basically gave to her. And this old man has 4 grandsons who all thought they would inherit the money, obviously, but they didn't. And so the only condition is that Avery needs to live in the house, the mansion, with all of the family of this man who were basically left with nothing. She needs to live with them for a year, and if she passes the year, then she is the owner of everything. And I loved it because there's always that question as to why did she get chosen? Why did this man pick her? And what secret is going on in this house? And the brothers are also all of them have very interesting qualities. I feel like you get a little piece of everyone in this book. Avery, I thought she was a great character. There's romance in this book with the brothers. More than one. Okay, I'm embarrassed now. I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and there is a second one coming out this summer, and my soul is just so happy about it. So this is a 5 out of 5, and let me just say, I am team, I think his name is Jameson, right? So anyone out there who loves this book as much as I do, let me know down below what team you are. But I'm team Jameson. I love him. So this has mystery, has a love triangle, has everything you would want. This is my perfect read. Recommended. Please go and pick it up. It's awesome. Okay. And last but certainly not least, we have The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I was almost gonna drop it. So this was interesting. This was an interesting read. Looking at my shelf, looking at my past reading experiences, I have gathered that I'm not into fantasy as much as I thought I was. So when I started this book, the beginning of it was a lot of world building. Well, it wasn't a lot, but it was some world building. It was more fantasy than I thought, so I was kind of like, okay, like skeptical at first. You know, the few first chapters I wasn't really into it, didn't really like any of the characters, hated the Cruel Prince, clearly. And I thought, okay, well, there's absolutely no way that this book is gonna make me like the prince because I hate him. So I put it down. I was like, I put it down, started another book, read that book, came back to this, I continued, and oh my god. Oh my god. I ended up loving this book so freaking much. I think between these two, We Were Liars as well, but this is kind of different, but between these two, this took the cake for this month. Oh my god, I love this book so much. And I know it gets so much praise and so much hype, and I didn't know what it was all about for the first few chapters. I was like, what is this? This is not that good. And then, oh my god, I'm so in love with it. So we are following Jude, who is immortal. She has a twin sister and a sister who is a fairy. So she has, her older sister is a fairy, and she's a twin. I don't know how to pronounce the twin's name. I think it's Tyrion, I want to say Tyrion. And her, Jude. And Jude, all she wants out of life is to belong to this fairy world. She's grown up there. So she just really wants to belong. And she's very talented with like sword fighting, and she wants to like become a knight, and that kind of be her entrance into this fairy world, so she could be accepted, because she's bullied a lot because she's immortal. And in this whole situation, we have the cruel prince, which his name is Carden, and he is just a bully. He's such a horrible person. Never leaves her alone. He does some horrible things. A lot of people in this book do very horrible and questionable things. I'm gonna do a video all about this because I have a lot to say. But overall, there's romance. You know there's gonna be romance with the Cruel Prince. That's not a spoiler. It's what it is. But it's not just a romance. Definitely not even just close to being just a romance. It has so much more. It's so good. And I ended up, as I was reading the book, I ended up not even caring about the romance. I was thinking more about the freaking throne and who was gonna become king, because you have that whole situation. You have to read it. There's not much I can say. What does it say? She just gets really involved in the crown, or from what's going on behind the crown. And there's obviously a lot of corruption going on, and she kind of gets just tangled in all of this, and someone needs to win the crown, I guess. That's the best explanation I can give. Now going into it, I didn't think that's where it was going, but it's very interesting. I loved it, and it's way much more than a romance, and I'm so excited to read The King of Nothing, right? Is that, no, the Wicked King, and then it's the Queen of Nothing. So really excited about that. All right, you guys, that is it for today's video. That was like a really long video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't too boring, and I will see you guys very soon with my December TBR, which I'm really excited about. So yeah,